Hi Deb, welcome to GTM Talk. It's absolutely delighted to have you on GTM Talk. I've been following a lot of stuff that you do on LinkedIn, and I thought I should reach out to you and have a conversation with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. Just to mention, I've been following your journey as well for a long time now. I've seen a couple of your podcast episodes, and when you reached out to me, I was super excited to talk about my journey and the outbound as a whole.
Excellent. So I don't think I would do justice if I gave you an introduction. So I think I'll turn it on to you. Like, can you share your journey, like from your first sales role to become the founding SDR at Align?
Absolutely. To start from the beginning, I'm an engineer turned sales professional, and my tech sales career started in 2021 when I had no idea about what an SDR does and what it is all about. I was the second sales hire for a startup, and I just jumped into the journey. For first year was very difficult for me, specifically because I didn't have the guidance or coaching or mentorship, you can say. So I was just figuring out, trying to do multiple things and see how can I succeed. And I would say my breakthrough happened in 2022 when I joined Six Sense. When I joined Slintel, which was part of Six Sense back then, and from there my career as an SDR started, where got to see a lot of results. Basically, I had a very good team there who supported me, a very good manager who guided me, and at the same time, I would say I started creating content on LinkedIn. One of the reasons to create content on LinkedIn because there was no one creating content in India regarding the SDR topics, right? And it's a very new topic for both for the for the candidate who is trying to be an SDR and for the company who are looking for SDRs and how to train them. So I saw that gap and I started sharing my experience, very raw experience. I started sharing. I would say from 2021 only I started sharing, but from 2022 I became consistent with my content. And then my personal branding started happening. I got invited to a few podcasts, and from there I connected with a lot of people from India and outside India as well. One of major thing that happened, the CEO of Lavender, Will Alred, I used to take coaching session from him. He used to have this free coaching sessions, and I used to capitalize on those things. And these small little things added up, and my personal branding started growing, and from there Align happened actually. And it's a very funny story, I would say. Saad Khan, who is my recent manager, he saw one of my podcasts and he liked what I was doing at Sixth Sense. He approached me. We started working together, and he liked my work. And from there, I joined Aligned as a full-time employee in December 2023. So the whole journey was never planned. It happened on the go. I just kept showing up on LinkedIn. I just kept showing up on my work, and things just started falling into places. So that's a very small, I would not small, but brief about my journey.
No, no, actually, I think the best journeys are those that are unplanned, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I'll tell you what I intend on like what we intend on doing in this podcast, and tell me if we can achieve that, right? So what I want this podcast to be is essentially a master class on SDR. Like when I went through your profile, you've done pretty much you've been at the SDR job all your life, right? So that's the goal of the podcast.
Yes.
But since I've seen you as an SDR role uh, throughout, right? I have a very different take when it comes to the growth of an SDR. Like a lot of people feel the growth of an SDR is for an SDR to become an AE, right?
Yes.
But I
Yes.
feel the skill set required for an SDR and a skill set required for an AE are extremely different,
Right. Right.
right? Why do you think the industry forces the growth for people to become an SDR to an AE?
To be very candid with you, SDS is not a very celebrated job, honestly. And if you see SDR in my bio, on my bio, I've written I'm an SDR who eats rejection for dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's a true thing. Like when you cold call people, 90% of the time or 95% of the time, you'll only hear no. So SDR, and at the same time, the job is not celebrated. If you go to LinkedIn at this point, you will find out of three posts, one post will be SDR job is dead, cold calling is dead, cold emailing is dead. So what most of the candidates, when they join as an SDR, because that's the entry level, not an entry level right now, but initially back then it was considered as an entry level job in tech sales. So everyone wants to get into tech sales. SDR was the way through, and they want to move to A as soon as possible, because one, obviously there was better pay than SDRs, and also that was that they used to consider that was a real sales job where you used to close deals, all those stuff. But the hard, if you consider the SDR job, it is the first touch point for any account, for any customers that you want to get into, right? And it requires a lot of, as an SDR, it requires a lot of obviously skills of cold calling, cold emails, but at the same time, it requires a lot of mindset, resilience, discipline, confidence, and these things are not very spoken about on the internet, but these are the main skills I would feel that an SDR needs. If you see my journey, I've been an SDR till now from 2021, majorly because I love the job that I'm doing, and also at the same point, initially I was very lost. So I was part of companies who are maybe not fit for me. With my growth, it was not fit for me. So I struggled a lot in my first year, I would say. So at this point, I would say if you're becoming an SDR, uh, it will teach you not only the hard skills, the skills of cold calling, cold emailing, LinkedIn, and social selling. It will teach you a lot of things which you can take learnings in terms of your life, like how to get back when you take 10 rejections or 10 no's. How can you get back and do the 11th cold call? Or if you're not hitting your target for, let's say, 2 months on a row, how can you get back and smash your target on the third month? So all
Yeah,
these.
but do you agree for this transition from an SDR to an AE, or do you are you of the same opinion as I am that the transition is actually wrong? The skill sets are very different.
The skill sets are very different. At the same time, there are few skill sets that you can transfer from an SDR to AE. But I would say, I would like to point one thing, that a lot of SDRs try to hurry up from the SDR role to an A role without fully having all the skills of an SDR, and that's where they can. That will at one point of then at one point of time that might backfire, because you have to be an SDR for at least 1 to 1.5 years, because you have to do certain amount of cold calls in your life. You certain have to do certain amount of cold emails. You have to get certain amount of rejections. Then when you get accustomed to all these things, when you become an A, and let's say you are working on a deal, for example, and you lose that deal, you you will understand that this rejection is something that I've already faced when I was on SDR. So all these things are like transferable, but at the same time, I think we should not hurry ourselves to become an A, or should not have a only goal that, okay, I am becoming SDR because I want to be an A. I don't care about the SDR world. Like, learn the job, learn the skills, learn everything of the SDR world, and then go as you want. Become an A marketing, go into marketing, or become a team lead as an SDR. So whatever you want to do.
Got
So
it. Okay. Understood. That made sense. So let's get into the meat of the stuff, right? So let's say you're joining a 0 to 1 company pre
yeah,
PMF, right? And you're one of the first non-tech hires. You've joined to
yeah,
drive sales, to do FTR work, however you define it. Like in startups is just a non-tech hire, right? So what walk me through everything right from setting up infrastructure, why you would do what you would do, to setting up meeting.
yeah. So pre market fit product, 0 to 1. Uh, it's a very tough journey, honestly. For here, I would see. So in this scenario, when I join a company, the first thing I would see, like, the people that I'm working with, right? Do they have experience in the market that they are trying to make a business, and how I can work with them? Because I would say, like, as an SDR, the external world will give you a lot of rejection and a lot of shit, but you have to come back to your team, and because they will be your supporting members. So it is very important to choose the right team, especially when you're in an early stage company. Secondly, coming back to the work, so if I have to, let's say, build an outbound motion for 0 to 1 company, the first thing that I'll try to do is I try to create demand, like the demand for the product, right? And see what the market is telling me. At this point, I'm not trying to sell anyone. It's mostly reaching out to people for feedback, let's say for the product that we are building on, or the problem that we are trying to solve is actually a problem that people face in their real life, or it's a real problem or not. So it mostly a case where I'll try to create demand, and demand can be created in a lot of things. It can be done through a lot of marketing stuff. It can be done through SDR work, through cold calling, cold emailing, and LinkedIn. But in this scenario, like, we have to define what is the success rate we are trying to achieve. Uh, I know that outbound right now is becoming very tough. So let's say if your brand that is not well known, then it will be really tough to get in front of your target audience and book meetings, because no one will give you time if they don't know about your brand, or if they don't know what you sell. In those scenarios, I will try to find what is there for the prospect that I'm reaching out to. And as I said, it will be mostly try to understand their pain points, try to understand their what is their job description, what do they care about, what are their priorities. So I have to learn a lot about the prospects rather than about my product and the challenges they face, the industry they are part of it. So there are a lot of study that I have to do in terms of my prospects and their companies, all those stuff. And once I do that, then only I can reach out to them and talk to them. Because if I can't talk their language, they won't care to give me at least 5 minutes of their time. So that's how I'll be starting from the initially. I'll start like understanding my prospects, again, pain points, all these things. Once I do that, I have to see that who will be the great fit companies for me, right? Probably I'll take help from my founders, right, in this scenario. What they think that will be a great fit companies, because what I've seen that if I have the great messaging, great everything is set up nicely, but if I'm reaching out to the wrong person, things won't work out.
Got
So
it. Deb, so let's double click on one point that you said, right? So you mentioned creating demand through SDR. What do you mean by that?
creating demand through SDRs, what I mean by that is the problem that I'm solving and the product that I'm building for that. I need to have a demand for that. Like, people should think, okay, yes, this is a problem that I'm having, and this is what's solving right now. Because people have a lot of problems, lot of pains, but they prioritize their pains in terms of what I can solve right now and what I can delay and I can solve later as well. So I have to create a demand that, okay, you have this XYZ problem. My job is to tell them that you need to solve this right now, and tell them that what will happen if you don't solve this right now, the cost of inaction. If you don't take the action right now, what will be the cost for that? And it's basically done through marketing a lot of times. For example, if I give you example of Aligned, our CEO Galaga has created a very beautiful LinkedIn presence, right? So we were when I joined, the company was a seed stage company, uh, at a very early stage. Obviously, our CEO have created demand for Aligned, because uh, Aligned is in the category of digital sales room, and very new category. Buyer enablement is a very new category, and upcoming one. Like, it's not something that have the sales processes have been not something that traditionally happening. So it's like a change of sales processes. You need to create demand for that. So in our case, Align, uh, our CEO Galaga have created a LinkedIn presence where he talks not only about Align, he talks about the problems. He takes up his journey from how he started his sales career, what are the things that he have faced, and what led him to make or build Align. So he speaks more about the problem more and more, and that attracted a lot of people who face the same problem, right? And they started following Galaga. They started following Align, and that's how the demand have been created for Align. And why I can say this, because I am the person who reach out to these people, right? And every time when I reach out to these people, most of the time they say that, I came to know about Align from your CEO's LinkedIn. So this is just one example how you can create demand. And at the same time, like, me as an SDR, I reach out to a lot of people, and every touch is like a marketing touch, right? I'm getting in front of the prospects where probably they're not ready to take a meeting right now, but in some way in their subconscious mind they know about Align. So whenever they feel that okay, I need a digital sales room, I know there's a tool called Align, and I can reach out to them. So in a way, I'm also doing some sort of marketing work on through my SDR work, and that is creating demand on them. And when the time is right, they will reach out to us. So that's how the demand is created through SDR work.
Understood. Okay, so the first step is, yeah, understand the product, know the product in and out, understand the people that you're working with. Third step, work with marketing. Don't look at SDR function just as SDR. Look at holistically, create demand in ways you can, right? And then the fourth step is reaching out to people,
Yes.
right? So let's go very deep in how an SDR reaches out to people, right? So in terms of what do we need to do for do okay, you said, do I reach out as an SDR? Do I reach out to these people using my account? Do I take leverage of my founder's account? Do I need to warm up domains? How long should I run a warm up sequence? Could you just walk us through the entire tactical setup here?
Yes, absolutely. It's a long process, so I'll go step by step here.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, let's first start with building a list. The core thing of reaching out, like you have to reach out to the right people. Let's say at Align we reach out to sales and CS people particularly. Now, what we have seen that marketing people are good to reach out, but sales and CS people are the best people to reach out, right? So so building a list is very important when you're reaching out to prospects. And at the same time, now there are a lot of tools in the market that can help you to build this, right? This podcast will go like it can go so long if I start naming all these tools, but leverage tools, right? To build a list, you should not build list manually at this point in 2025, because there are so many tools in the market that as simple as if you can give a prompt or something like that, it can give you a list of companies that you want to reach out. So building a list is the first thing. Second, I would say, is finding the right people in those companies. So for example, you need to know that which type of companies you're targeting. Is it mid market? Is it enterprise? Is it startups? Right? Because every type of companies will have different types of problems. A startup will in a startup, decisions are taken very fast, right? In a big company like, let's say, for Salesforce or like a company like HubSpot, big companies, there are a lot of levels where decisions have to go through, and it might take the process a bit slow. So you have to understand that which type of companies are right now best fit for you, right? And based on that, you have to make a list. Once you make a list, and once you, let's say, have the right set of prospects in your list, you need to have their contact details. And when I say contact details, it is mostly email IDs, phone numbers, and LinkedIn. So again, there are tools in the market. I use Apollo right now, but there are so many tools: Apollo, Zoom Info, Lucia. Traditional tools, there are so many upcoming new tools also in the market. Tools coming up. Yeah, so email IDs, phone numbers, and LinkedIn. You let's say you have the email IDs, phone numbers, and their LinkedIn, and the list is ready. Now you have to reach out. Now, when you reach out, three options mostly are there. There are other options are there. The three options that everyone uses is cold email, cold call, and LinkedIn, right? Sometimes, like there are like I use a lot of Slack channels to reach out to my prospects, right? So that is secondary. Primary is the these three channels. Let's talk about cold emails first. First, cold email. The first thing is that your email domain health, email deliverability. These are the main things, right? Because if your email is not landing in your primary inbox, doesn't matter how good your email is or how good your list is. For that, for SDRs, email deliverability can be tricky, can be very technical, and no one teaches you all these things. So again, learn about these things honestly, because you should know that how to warm up your domains, how to set up your mailboxes, how to ramp up your emails, how many emails you need to send from each mailbox, what how many emails you need, boxes you need. You should not send emails from your primary domain, that is your company
Let's
domain.
talk about all of this, Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's use this platform to talk about all of this.
Yeah, so if to talk about this topic, let's start with uh, what is email domain health, right? Let's start from there. So domain health is basically, uh, again, there are certain tools in the market where if you like copy paste your domain health, sorry, domain, it will give you a score, like if it's 90% or 95, and that will tell you that like if your email are going to land in the primary inbox or in the spam box, right? You start from there, and then you have to understand some best practices. For example, let's say my company domain name is alignedup.com. I'll never use debdutta@alignedup.com to send cold emails, because by any chance if my prospects mark my email as spam, or let's say if a lot of prospects do this at a scale, then my primary domain will be at risk. Then what happens, other members, team members of my company, their email will also land in spam, and that's what I don't want. So what I'll use secondary domains. Now what is secondary domains? For example, if my domain is alignedup.com, I'll use tryalignedup.com, getaligneup.com, and these are similar looking domains, but these are secondary domains which if it's affected, it won't affect the whole company's domain, right? So you have to understand this. Second, once you have, let's say, 3 4 secondary domains, you have to set up mailboxes. So it can be debdutta at the rate tryalignedup.com, debdutta get@alignedup.com, etc, etc, right? And then once you set up your mailboxes, let's say I have 6 mailboxes and I can send let's say 30 emails from each mailboxes. That doesn't mean I send 30 emails from day one. That you can't do, because you have to warm up those emails, because these are new emails, and you just can't send emails out of randomly. And a lot of let's say in Apollo, what I've seen is when you start warming up, that is 5 emails per day, right? And it slowly builds up like 5 7 10 like this. So each day I will say 5 emails from each mailbox, right? And what I do primarily, I send first few emails to my own team members and tell them to open it and reply. So the system sees that this domain, this mailbox is getting replies, and it will warm up better, right?
Got it. Deb, let me just stop you in between. So you're saying, okay, you use Apollo to prospect, and you're saying Apollo has a feature where it warms up at a low scale. You would not recommend using a third-party tool, let's say like a warm up in bots or one of these tools to
Absolutely.
warm up to warm up at scale.
It depends. Like if you have the budget, yes. A lot of times when you're initially starting out, budget is tight, right? Uh, Apollo. I mean, I've mentioned Apollo because Apollo does a lot of things in one tool. Like it gives you data, it gives you sequencing tools for reaching out, it gives you outreach, email delivery as well. But like let's say if you have the budget, for example, you can use Maildoso. It you can use Smartlead. These are proper cold email softwares where you can warm up at scale, right? And but it depends like what kind of budget you have for the setting up all these processes. For let's say, for if I talk about Maildoso, it is built for cold outbound teams who wants to outreach at scale, and they actually take care of all the email infrastructure for you, everything, right? And the whole the everything that I mentioned right now, like these are like a lot of processes, manual steps are included. Like you have to sit behind your laptop, like in front of your laptops, do this manually. But at company like tools like Maildosos can do this at scale, and you don't have to use a lot of manual work as well. So but again, I am talking from a perspective that's a very new company, maybe budget from that thing. But again, if your budget, go for tools like Maildosos and Smartlead, and these tools are coming in my mind right now to warm up at scale. So for let's say the warm up is done and you're good to go right now. Now you start with your cold email. I'm sticking to cold email right now. Then I'll talk to other channels. In cold email, there are a few things that I prefer. That is the first email that I'm writing. It's a very simple framework that I've been using for past 3 years. First line is why am I reaching out to them? Like because someone gets a cold email, they think what is this about? Why this person is reaching out to me? So I mentioned that why I'm reaching out to them. Then I mention a problem that a problem based on what I've seen in the industry, problem based on their job profile, and then how we solve the problem. Then an interest based CTA. And when I mean an interest based CTA, it is like, can I share more information? Can I send a video on how this can be useful for you. Not asking for time, because again, if you ask for time, it's a huge ask, like huge commitment for them. So I prefer not to ask. A lot of people can tell that, oh, I ask for time and I get time. It is because cold, there's no fixed cold email process, honestly. If you are reaching out to the right person at the right time, you can just write, hi, my platform does this, do you want a demo? And if that person is actually wants a demo, they will say yes to that email as well. So there is no set right cold email template. It's just frameworks. Just learn frameworks. There's no templates like ABC is the right templates. No, just learn the frameworks. So my framework is always observation, then problem, then solution, then CTA, and this has been working good for me. Yes, I change these things little bit here and there, but this is the overall framework that I use. And few good practices that like that I use in my cold emails: no links or no images in my first cold email, again because of email deliverability issues. No big paragraphs, because people read about sorry, people read emails on their mobile phone, not on laptops. Like when we write emails, we write from their laptops, and when a prospect read, they read on their mobile phones, right? So that and it's a very different, perception of emails, because our screen is different on laptop and the screen on the mobile is different. So the sentence I've written, maybe it sees one line on the laptop, but on the phone it is like already 2 3 lines. And when it is a big email, subconsciously people think, oh, I don't have the time, they skip it. So always think that when you're writing emails, always think from your prospect point of view that they are reading from your mobile phone, from their mobile phone, and make your emails like that. Second, your subject line or and your for preview. What I mean preview is like the first line of your email is very important. The reason because that will determine if they will open your email or not. And secondly, the body and the CTA will determine if they will give you a reply or not. Mostly they won't give you a reply, and that's why follow-up emails come into the picture, right? And
Before we go into follow-up email, Deb, what about personalization?
okay, personalization is a term that has been overused, I feel. More than personalization, you should be relevant. Now, what is the difference between personalization and relevancy? uh, as a SDR, uh, one let's say an email will be relevant if someone is talking about how they can help me book more meetings in a month, what I'm doing right now. Email can be relevant how they can help me find prospects who are looking for a solution like Align. A email will be relevant if they're reaching out to me saying that they can give me verified email IDs and phone numbers without me have to do a lot of manual work. So now these are relevant emails because these are tied to my job description, what I do in a day-to-day life, what are my pain points, challenges. Personalization is, let's say, on my if someone goes through my let's say on my LinkedIn, I've written mental health advocate, which means that I care about mental health. Now if someone talks about mental health and personalize it, that is personalization. But again, uh, transitioning from heavy personalization to their product is different. And people mess up. Like, let's say I've seen a lot of people writing, let's say, hey, I see you're a mental health advocate, a great thing, speaking about mental health is something is very important, blah blah. By the way, we are a company, we do these things. So the transition from the personalization to the real email is off, and it makes prospects like, okay, the compliment that the person has given me is a fake compliment, they just want my attention, they don't care, right? So I would say if you're genuinely like fascinated about something about that prospect, tell that prospect and then reach out to them. And if you don't want to personalize, just be relevant to them. I was reading a post from a CRO, and the CRO said that I get a lot of emails. The only emails that I read have few things in common. And she mentioned that one, you need to say that why are you reaching out to me? Why should I care about this problem? and how you can help me, and then a CTA. And exactly this is what I told about relevancy. Like, tell the person that why you're reaching out to them, why they should care right now, and how you can solve, and then the CTA. Doesn't matter if you're reaching out to a founder, to a CEO, to a SDR, to anyone, right? Personalization, and even though let's say if you want to do personalization, the best hack I have found out is personalize in the PS section. Like, you write your email, and then the PS section you write that, hey, by the way, I just saw that you're a mental health advocate. I'm also a mental health advocate, and I have a community that does this, which is not aligned to the first email. So you don't have to have the pressure to transition from personalization to, to the email. So this is something that I do a lot of times when I genuinely find something fascinating in the prospect's profile. Let's say I am related to fitness. If someone is related to fitness, I also speak that. And personalization gives the extra touch, and it's not that very important. It is again very, like what I'm speaking right now, personalization not that important. It might spark a debate, but it's based on my experience. I have always been someone who rely on relevant emails, relevant to their challenges and everything, rather than making it heavy personalization and sounding like I'm just doing a fake compliment just to get your attention. I don't want to do that. So yeah.
Right. So, Deb, so no, no, I completely understand where you're coming from. See, relevancy also has to do a lot with timing,
Yes.
right? Like the person needs to have a requirement around what you're trying to sell. So that boils down to prospecting, right? Do you think just pulling out a list from Apollo helps you get in front of the right companies, or do you think you need to think smartly in today's day and age by using new age tools and have various triggers set up, let's say on somebody getting hired or any kind of trigger to be one step closer to under for the right timing?
Very good question. uh, what I've seen in outbound, you can have the right message, you can have the right people, but you can uh, you can connect on the right in the right timing, because you don't know that when is the right time for the person to reach out. If the timing is right, they will come inbound, right? So that in that scenario, intent signals, or let's say signal, which is a thing that has been working a lot in my current work, signal based prospecting. Now, if you want to ask me what is signals, there, signal is basically, and my manager Saad Khan has described it in his recent podcast very nicely, that signal is not a trigger, it's a stack of triggers. Now, let's go to what is triggers. Triggers can be, for example, me, I'm selling a sales tool to salespeople. So for me, triggers can be a company hiring A's, a company increasing the sales team, or a company, let's say, um, have a lot of deal with a lot of enterprise accounts, or have a lot of enterprise customers. These are triggers based on my use cases, or so. Let's say, what is signal? It is, let's say, a company who visited my website. One trigger. Company, the same company is hiring A's. Second trigger, the same company had a new CRO joint, right? Three triggers, which total sums up to be a great signal to go after that company. So you have to have like triggers which sums up as a signal, and then you have to make a, back to again going back to list, then you have to make a list of companies based on your signals. Excellent signals, you might score them 100, and two no, good signals, which is, let's say, around 80 to 85 scoring. So you have to score them, and again, all these things you don't have to do manually. Again, there are tools that are in on your behalf, will do all these things, right? I just again, while speaking to you, one tool that exactly do this is Keyplay, KEYPA. In Keyplay, you just have to name that I am reaching out to companies B2B. These are the triggers I want. These are the everything. It will give you a list of companies, and it will also score those based on your whatever use cases you have. Uh, so this is like, these all things, list building and triggers finding. Earlier, 2000, I think in 2021, I should do it manually because
Zapier was the hero.
exactly. But in 2025, things have changed so much and at a very fast rate that I feel right now SDRs just have to know what are the tools there in the market, go for those tools, use it, and they can, prospect at a large scale. So yeah, triggers and signals. Based on that, again, it won't tell you that okay, this is the company you should reach out right now, and they will book a demo right now. No, they will only say that there is a high propensity that these companies might give you some attention to talk to you. That's it, and that is a very good good enough reason to reach out to them, because if I can capture timing, then it will be magical. Then I think I will have some magical god powers to I can tell them that before they come inbound I can you know reach out to them and say, hey, I know you're coming inbound, you come to me and I'll show you a demo. Not possible, but yes, what is possible through outbound is finding the right companies, right prospects, right message, and delivering through right channels. These are the things on our control. So
Got
I'll
it.
do that.
So you think you're saying intent-based outreach is better than just taking a list from Apollo and reaching out?
Yes, absolutely. Like
And
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
So my point here is, if you just shoot your shot on dark, yes, some might land, but it's a volume game, right?
Got it.
But if you know that, if you're strategic behind your list, you know that, let's say if you're reaching out to 100 people, and if I tell you that, Ashish, why are you reaching out to these 100 people, and you said, Dev, these are the reason, that means that you have done some strategic work behind building those lists and been reaching out to those people, and the chances of getting responses goes up, and which is like quality outreach rather than quantity, which we mostly say as pay and pray, which doesn't work at this DNH. It will never work unless and until you're selling something that is very important.
Got it. Got it. Makes a lot of sense there. Let's now again. I think I asked another question regarding does it make sense to do an outreach from the founder's profile or from the SDR's profile? What I mean by profile is email IDs.
Okay, so are you talking about LinkedIn? So it's email IDs, right?
I'm talking about email. Let's stick to email first.
um, it doesn't matter that much when it comes to email IDs, because I mean, more number of mailboxes, let's say if I have my founder's mailbox, my mailbox, better, because I can send more emails. But in terms of like if it's going out for founder's email ID or my email ID, a lot of things won't change. But if I talk about LinkedIn, there is something different, because if I use my founder profile, I don't know, it's a psychology, probably there's a psychology behind this. But let's say if a founder is reaching out to founder, chances gets more to get a connect
100%.
replies, or a founder reaching out to us, let's say a CXO, than just an SDR, because again, the perception is there probably. So when it comes to LinkedIn, and if you can take the leverage of your founder's profile or your manager or your, let's say, head of sales example, their profile, and reach out, you do that. But at the same time, we have to be very cognizant of the thing that we are using executives profile to reach out. So we can't be desperate, we can't show desperation, all these things. You have to be very mindful when you're reaching out to executive profile, in compared to a profile, let's say an SDR, whose job is to reach out. So I'm not saying that SDR shows desperation, but SDRs can reach out, let's say, 2 to 3 times to a prospect without being annoying. But a founder have to, I mean, the founders, or not, it's not for every founders, but a lot of founders, when they build a personal brand, they have to build, they have to manage a brand on LinkedIn. So you can't be just reaching out to random people from your founder's profile, because it will hurt your personal, not only the person's personal brand, the company's brand as well, right? So for example, when I reach out to companies from, let's say, who have interacted with Gal's post, it's not like randomly I'm reaching out to them and saying, hey, you commented on my CEO's profile or CEO's post, that's why I'm reaching out to. That what it will make, they won't, the next time they won't comment on my CEO's profile, right? And it will hurt his personal brand and our company brand. So I have to be strategic that they commented on my CEO's profile is a trigger, right? But I won't mention that. I'll go and research the company and see what I can use. Probably their hiring aids, for example. and that I'll mention that, hey, I see that you're hiring A's and all this thing. So when I'm reaching out to them, one, it's not a cold email, it's kind of a warm email because they have seen Align, they know Ga Laga, all these things, and I have a very compelling reason to reach out. It makes the reach out good, it makes my brand looks good, and and basically I'm using my founder's LinkedIn profile to find good prospects, again high propensity prospects to reach out. That's the only thing, but I won't mention the same
Got
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Why doesn't the same thing apply for email? I didn't understand that bit.
uh, the same thing, and don't I mean, when I'm reaching out to on emails, uh, the difference with emails and LinkedIn is, someone when you get a LinkedIn request, the first thing that we do is we scan the profile, right? But on emails, I mean, when we get an email, we don't go and see like there's not there's nothing like there's a profile on email, like you can build a profile. So it doesn't matter that much, like I can be wrong as well. It doesn't matter as much like who is writing the email. uh it mostly matters if you know the brand. So let's say if Dave is writing an email from Align compared to Saad is writing an email from Align, if it's coming from Align, a person will like they will recall the brand Aligned, right? But if let's say if Dev is sending a connection request on LinkedIn compared to Saad, they will go on my profile and Saad's profile. Saad has a very good profile compared to me. He's a thought leadership. They will check out his post. They will see that this person has done something. It's good to connect with this person. So that's the difference I'm talking about. Like there are a lot of things to do research before connecting actually.
Got it. So I actually have so my experience with respect to this, the reason why I want to just go a little deep in this, I've had slightly different experiences in terms of founder outreach. Like if you're able to use the founder's email ID and do outreach. So
Yeah.
when you start off an email with "I'm a 2X founder,
Yeah.
built something in the past," you build credibility,
Right.
and then you ask them, like, again, don't do a hard sell, just like you mentioned, do something very soft, would love your feedback, etc. The amount of responses that we've received from our founder's profile versus our SDR's profile, we saw a huge difference.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, okay. So we spoke about prospecting. We spoke about setting up technical setup, right? In terms of sequences, let's go. Let's double click on
Yes.
sequences. There are multiple ways to do sequences. We spoke about relevant versus personalization. Now, when it comes to sequences, how many step sequences should it be? Should the first step be manual and can the rest be automated? Where do you do LinkedIn outreach before you start sending these emails? Can we go a little deeper into that?
Yeah. So when it comes to sequence, things have changed a lot. I remember when I was at Six Sense, I was selling a high ACV product, and my sequence used to go for 2 weeks, like almost 14 to 16 days, and that has like uh, 6 emails in that sequence and like 10 calls, something like that. Now things have changed, right? People are outbounding much more than earlier. There is already a mental spam filter there in the prospect's mind. Right now, what I've seen is the less number of steps, the better it is.
Mhm.
Why? Because let's say if someone is not replying to your third email, higher chance that they won't reply to your fourth, fifth, or sixth email. At some point, it gets to a spamming. So at this point, what I do is it's a 7 day sequence for me, which has 3 emails and 3 calls, keeping it very simple. When it comes to LinkedIn, always feel that I don't keep LinkedIn steps in my sequence because
Okay.
LinkedIn is something, it's a social media, right? LinkedIn is something that people come for multiple reasons. They come there here for probably for posting something, probably for replying to DMs, probably for getting a job, probably for connecting with people, right? Because so I don't know when my prospect will come on LinkedIn or when they will post or what the actions they will take. So again, the timing I don't know. So LinkedIn is separated for me. Email and call steps are in a sequence, uh, and that runs okay. First email is, it's good if you write it manually, right? Because that's the first cold email you're doing. I prefer to keep follow up emails as automatic because and in follow up emails I try to use my face, probably have a video, something like that. And apart from that, LinkedIn is something, again, as I said, it's separate. It depends, like, let's say if one of my target account has posted a content or a post that is relevant to what I'm talking about, so I've used that post and reach out to that prospect on LinkedIn, which I can't time it if I put that in a sequence, right? So my email first email is always cold email, which is manual, because I want to write that email. I want to make it relevant, and if possible, personalization as well. Apart from that, the next two emails are mostly for automatic emails. But having said that, those automatic emails are also relevant to them. It's not that some random emails are going out. Okay, and apart from that, the call steps are, obviously, I use Nooks to call, like a parallel dialer, and
Which one is that, Deb?
Nooks, NOOKS,
Notes. Okay.
to call them. And LinkedIn, so LinkedIn is interesting. On LinkedIn you can use videos. You don't have to think about email deliverability, so you can use videos, links, you can use voice notes right from your first message only. And this actually helps you to stand out from the people. Like majority, if you right now, Ashish, you go to your DM, you'll see most of this your LinkedIn DMs are text based. In that scenario, if I come and give you a voice note or a video, I mean, I think I can get your attention. Let's say I won't get your reply, but you will open the voice note or a video and just check out. And then if I follow up with you strategically, probably I'll get a reply as well. So I like to play with LinkedIn, right? At the same time, LinkedIn also depends on your profile, like how good you're maintaining your profile, like your bio, banner, about me sections. Because as I said, for LinkedIn is not just a prospecting tool; it is used for variety of things, right? Because there are a lot of options compared to emails, where people come to either delete the email, reply email, or forward the email. On LinkedIn, they come from multiple things, so you have to understand both channels are different.
Yeah, let me stop you in between. So one is LinkedIn, one is email, one is LinkedIn, right? Do you do this in parallel? Do you add the prospect on LinkedIn and then start your sequence? Do you start your sequence and then after your first email, do you add the prospect? I understand that you don't have it within your sequence, but how do you think about this?
Uh, the first
Or
step
it doesn't matter?
uh, does honestly, for me, uh, doesn't matter that much. For me, the first step is always cold email and then the cold call. LinkedIn is something I want a very compelling reason to reach out. Like it can be, let's say, someone who opened my email 5 times, for example. That means something is going there, right? But they're not replying to me. Called them, they didn't reply. They didn't pick up the call. I have the third channel right now, LinkedIn. Then I'll mention that, uh, hey prospect, uh, wanted to connect with you to put a face on the email that I sent you. See that you have opened it 5 times. Just curious to know, is it something that you found relevant or something? Uh, my first instant is not to send a LinkedIn connect, because the and it again there is a debate that, do you want to send a blank connect request or a you have to put something on your connection request. If you ask me, I put something written there, just to
Okay.
tell prospect that if you're accepting my request, accept some messages coming from my end, rather than just connecting with them and then faking, hey, very good profile, blah blah. I I'm just telling them that, heads up, there's some prospecting going on, and if you're connecting with me, that tells me that you will expect some messages from me. I don't know. It works for me because it saves a lot of time for me, rather than going for people who will never reply to me. Again, up for debate here, but this is what is working for me. Uh, at the same time, when I mentioned about 3 emails and 3 calls, and that is getting over in 1 week, it's not a fixed thing. You can, if you someone who loves cold calling, put 5 cold calling steps into a cold email. If you love
Fair.
cold email, give 4 emails and 2 cold calling steps. My point here is the SDR work doesn't have a fixed process. I mean, when I say process, that this is the process that you have to follow. If someone tells you don't follow that, find your own processes. This is something that that I mentioned. It works for me. 3 emails, 3 calls, best for me. But for you, it might not work. So you know, test different thing, experiment.
Fair. Deb, let me ask you another question when you touched on LinkedIn, right? So there's once I've read a lot of LinkedIn posts. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, just like you do. Is people say before reaching out to people on LinkedIn, engage with their posts, try commenting on their posts, and then reach out to them. There's this school of thought that says that. What are your thoughts on that?
See, I have to be practical here. Let's say if I'm reaching out to 100 people, okay, let's say not 100 people like post content. Let's say 25 people post content. Now, do you think it's, as a person, as an SDR who has a target in my mind, who has other things to work on, who has internal meetings to join, who has external demos to take? Do you think practically is it possible to go after all the LinkedIn's, find people who are like posting, comment on them, and then reach out to them? Practically not possible. Yes, from a prospect point of view, this is very good. I don't deny. But at the same time, as a if I'm talking from SDR point of view, it's not practically possible. So that is the reason when I'm reaching out to them, I have to be very clear why I'm reaching out to them. Uh, if you can do that, let's say if you work, let's say 24 hours, if you want to do that, if and if you want to comment on every prospect's post, do that. There's no harm. But I work for 8 hours, right? In that 8 hours, I have to prioritize my time, and I have to see which are the actions that I will take right now, give me maximum efforts. And if in those areas, if commenting on their post and then reaching out to them gives me maximum result, I'll do it. If not, I won't do that. So it depends on what are the results that will give you maximum, what are the actions that give you maximum results, and then you do that. Uh,
That have you tried commenting? Have you tried engaging before reaching out? Is that something that you've tried? No, you not. It's too
Absolutely.
time consuming.
It's too time consuming, honestly. And uh, let's say if I also comment, and there's no sure shot, like no one give me a guarantee that they will connect with me after that, right? It might happen someone who has not commented on their profile, but that person has a very good profile, and that if he or she connects with them, they will connect with them rather than connecting with an SDR who has no profile, let's say. So I would say build your profile, build yourself, build your profile in a way that people will come, like they will come and they will get attracted to your profile rather than spending much more time on others' profile and commenting them. It's not bad. Again, I'm problem sounding that you should not do it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that first build your profile. Like it's build first build your house nicely, and then you go to other people's house. That's what I'm trying to mean.
Got it. Got it. So, Deb, you mentioned cold calling quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
While talking. So, does cold calling work in 2025 in the SaaS domain? Can you cold call from India? Are there challenges if you have an Indian accent while selling to a US audience? These are common questions around cold calling. Like, can we go a little deeper into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good questions actually. And I'll tell you, if cold calling, if it wasn't working, I will be out of job. And at the same time, it's 2025, and personally, what I've seen, that cold calling is becoming the most important skill for an SDL. Now you can ask me why. The reason is, with chat GPTs and AI tools coming into the picture, uh, I would say most of the SDR work can be automated, starting from research, building lists, finding right accounts, writing cold emails, then following up. All these things can be automated. Like you can use an AI tools to do it at scale. One thing that AI tool can't do is calling people, right? It's illegal in using it is illegal in US, and still now we are selling to selling to human beings. And I feel at the time when we sell to human beings, it will like you need a human being to sell to another human being. The time when we go to sell to robots, then robots can come in and they can sell to each other. But the time when we are selling to human beings, we need a human being at the other side as well to talk. And for talking for cold calling, you need a SDR who has good cold calling skills. It can't be automated. AI can't do that job right now. I don't know about the future, so I'm talking about right now. So in that scenarios, SDR skill, one of the important skill is cold calling, right? Uh, Secondly, I've seen like a lot of, and I let me mention this. I work with a global company. My manager is from Canada. My founding engineering team, my CEOs are from Israel. We have SDR. I have an SDR from Netherlands. We have people from our sales team is from USA. I am from India. I have an Indian accent, right? I've been cold calling in US for from 2022, 2021 when I started. I used to prospect in India. From 2022, I'm cold calling from US. Honestly, Ashish, I've never seen people uh, getting offended or something with my Indian accent. And this is what I learned about communication. It's not about the accent. It's not it's not faking your accent or speaking in a way that uh, US folks speak. It's that the communication is only where when you speak loud, you speak clearly, you speak in a way that the other person understands, and you speak clearly. I mean, there are clearness in your conversation. You don't have to use too much words or too much strong or difficult words. Be simple, be clear, and uh, and also hear what listen to what the other person is saying. That's how communication works for me. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of Indian companies prioritize not communication on the accent part. Like I didn't understand that. I will never understand that. I have faced that in my SDR role as well. But now that I work with a global company, I work with the English that I'm speaking right now with you. No one from my manager to my CEO never has pointed that you have an Indian accent or you need to change. And that tells me that my communication is right, and my thought process is right. That I need to be clear, need to be understanding, and need to hear what the other person is saying. And that's the basic of communication. That's it. Whatever I'm speaking, Ashish should understand. Whatever Ashish is speaking, I should listen to and then reciprocate. That's it. But yeah, simple. I just want to keep it simple. But at the same time, I've seen, and this is something that still goes on because I speak to a lot of SDRs, and I have heard from them that people prioritize, even though they have, let's say, they have very good skills, probably great SDR skills, but probably don't have that so probably don't have that accent that they want, that the company wants. They get rejected in the interviews. For me, doesn't make sense at all. Yeah.
Right. Right. No, no. So very helpful, and I completely agree with your viewpoint on keeping communication simple. It's just that it's a lot of inhibitions people have when you're cold calling from India, at least thanks to the movies. All right. What are your thoughts around? Okay, so help me understand what is the cold calling infrastructure setup like for emailing. We spoke about the infrastructure needed. What is needed for cold calling?
Okay. Uh, let's start like back when I used to cold call 2021, 22. I used to cold call from Apollo and Sales Law Tyler. And that is like basically cold calling one people each. Let's say if 100 people, like I'll put your number, then I'll cold call, second number, cold call. And that takes a lot of time, right?
Yep.
And you can't scale. Then parallel dialers came into the picture, like tools like Nooks, Oram, big players in the market, they came into the picture. And what they did is they actually reduced the time. Now I can cold call, let's say, 100 people in 15, 25 minutes. Now I can scale this thing. This is one thing. Another thing that is there in the market, and that is,
What is okay? Fine. Come.
yeah,
What are these tools? What are these parallel calling? Let's start from there.
okay.
Parallel dialers.
Random dialer is nothing but you call multiple people at the same time. And let's say I call three people at the same time. Someone picks up, the other two drops, right? And you speak to the person. Then in the next in the next part, again you call the three people, whoever picks up. So it's basically calling multiple people at the same time, rather than you calling you one by one. That basically saves a lot of time. Now there's another scenario that comes into the market, or in today's world. That is, there are tools like Titanix. Now what this kind of tool does, they'll tell you that, okay, out of 100 people, these are the 50 people who have the high chance to pick up the call. So you don't have to call 100 people, you just call 50 people one by one. Now what is the difference between these two? Parallel dialer, you call 100 people in less time. In this scenario, a lot of time the connect rates get less, like reduced, right? Compared to the tools like Titanix, what they do, they tell you that they give me a list. I'll tell you that out of 100 people, you have just need to call 50 people. But because they have the, I don't know the science or the technology behind that, but this is the overall process. They'll tell you they call only 50 people, and they have the high probability to take your like pick up your call. So you do that manually, like you do that one by one, but now you're calling only 50 people. Both has, I don't know, like both obviously will have pros and cons. But in today's scenario, like you need to have tools like this, because if you're calling from a dialer, Apollo dialer or Sales Club or any sequence dialer, doesn't make sense. You're wasting your time. But I also understand that when you're starting out, you don't have budget for tools like this. So okay, that's not a problem. You start like, you know, uh, small budget, like probably with Apollo's dialer. So once you see some results, then you slowly invest into these tools. But you need to know that what kind of tools are there in the market. It is very important. Now, what kind of infrastructure we have? First, we need to have a verified cool phone numbers, right? And again, phone getting phone numbers is very difficult. Like email IDs, you will still get, let's say out of 190 email IDs, 95 are good email IDs. But getting phone numbers is always a pain. Especially US, it's okay. Especially markets like EMEA market. EMEA market has Cognizant is one of the best tool for that. But correct me if I'm wrong. I've never seen a good tool for a market, right? So phone numbers is always a difficult thing to get, and but if you, that's why you need to have, let's say, multiple data providers, so that the probability of getting more number of phone numbers you gets up. So first is good.
Where do you buy these phone numbers from? Where do you buy these numbers from? Is it hard to buy good phone numbers, or is it hard to buy numbers in general?
It is hard to buy good phone numbers.
Does
The
it matter?
it absolutely does. Like I don't care if you give me, let's say, someone tells me that I can give you 100 phone numbers.
Mhm.
Don't give me 100 phone numbers. Give me 60 verified numbers. Because let's say
What
100
are the verified numbers?
verified numbers are, let's say, these are not wrong numbers, these are not company numbers, these are not gatekeepers numbers.
Okay. Okay. No, okay. So I think I was asking something else. I think I'm talking about phone numbers needed for the SDR to make phone calls. I'm not talking about the prospect phone number.
Oh, oh, you mean my phone number?
Correct. That is the infrastructure that is needed for you.
Yeah. Yes, yes. I mean, so obviously, like you need phone numbers, as in you. If I'm calling to US, I call from US phone numbers, and I don't have to bother about numbers because Nooks give me numbers. Let's say if I want to California, let's say I'm calling the California region uh, in Nooks, I can go, I can select the region, and it will give me a number to call. These are again, these are things taken care of by the dialer that you're choosing. I'm sure Odom or other tools will also have. So that's I don't have to think about, like uh, I have the numbers, and if I'm calling the Indian numbers, then though I use my phone, that's not a problem. And but I prospect very less in India right now. So I'm talking about US specifically, that US, for US you will get two to three numbers, and you can rotate those numbers. Let's say you call 100 people from one number, then automatically rotate. But again, these things you don't have to think. The platform when you buy the platform, they will help you do all these things. They will auto rotate and all those stuff. But what I was talking about actually was the number of the prospect, because that is something that you need to be concerned. A lot of tools will say we give you a lot of numbers, and when you get the numbers, you will see half are wrong numbers, cheaper numbers, company numbers. Doesn't make sense. Won't be any use. Rather, you give me 60 phone numbers, mobile numbers, which are correct numbers, verified numbers, and I can call these people, right? So that is very important, like quality numbers rather than quantity numbers.
And for that, Cognizant you said is a great tool for numbers
Cognizant for EMEA market,
for
because
EMEA market.
EMEA is something difficult to get numbers. So, whole data is a difficult thing because of data privacy thing. So I've seen Cognizant, and I think they've built it in a very good way. Like they've positioned their brand that EMEA is a very good number. For US, again, a lot of tools to get US numbers. Apollo, again, Zoom Info, Lucia. There are new tools in the market like Prospe. I don't know, like very new tools that are not coming to my mind, but small companies that are getting doing very good job in this data and sales engagement, sales intelligence space. So yeah, so once you get the numbers, verified numbers, you put this list into your dialer. For me, it is Nooks. Put them into Nooks, then just cold call. There's nothing. It is not so much complicated like email. Cold call. Again, a lot of people love to have a script ready with them. I have a script, but it's most like but if like when I follow a script, I've seen that I become a robot rather than a human talking. So yes, I have a script in my mind because I've been cold calling so long, but I try to speak like a human, like, because I don't know what kind of questions that will occur in the cold call, and if I follow the script, I will fumble, or I will, I might lose my track. So I just try to have a conversation. Yes. Now again, a very huge debate comes into the picture. Should we use permission based open or not? My take here is,
Don't
my
use.
yeah, my take here is depends on you. For me, I have never used it because I can't deliver that well. I have used it and people used to say no. Like I should tell, hey Ashish, this is Dave cold calling you from, or calling you from Align. But this is a research cold call. Can I take 30 seconds? And they say no. And then I get blank. I can't say anything. So
Yeah.
I don't use it because I can't deliver. But if you can, please do that. Again, it is like there's no set processes for that. It depends. Cold calling, what I've understood, is more like tonality. Like, hey Ashish, this is Dave calling you from Align. How are you? It's like, you know, okay, hi, I'm good. Who is this? Hey, so yeah, sorry, calling you out of blue. I'm Dave, calling you from Align. The reason I called you, then I start the reason. What I've seen is that your tone matters a lot. Secondly, when someone picks up, they think that who is this person calling? Why is this person calling me? What this person wants from me? So I try to, clear all these doubts from my prospect mind in the first 10 to 20 seconds. And
Got it.
that,
No, no, very interesting on cold calling there. Like, I've never done cold calling in my life. Always had an inhibition whether cold calling would work for SaaS or not. We stuck to emails, we stuck to LinkedIn in my previous company, and it all panned out great. But cold calling, so one of the inhibitions that a lot of people, while speaking about cold calling, that has come out is if you are a large ACV product, maybe you shouldn't cold call. And if you cold call, you're hurting. Probably the emails won't get open when you send out emails. You're burning relations, stuff like that. So, do you have any framework of sorts to say that if you're a high saving product, don't do cold calling? If you're between 10,000 to 20,000, it's a good spot for cold calling. Anything of that sort?
no, I think more, it doesn't, it matter what is your ACV, honestly. It matters whom are you cold calling. For example, if you're cold calling a CTO or someone in the technical background, they have never done sales. For them, cold calling is something like I am interrupting their day. In that scenario, it depends how well are you with your cold calling skills. And if, let's say, if they say, oh, I don't know business with on cold calls. I have heard this from a salesperson, by the way, from a sales leader, that I don't do business with cold calls. There will be people like this. You can't do much about that. But saying that doing cold call will hurt your business, I don't think it's a right thing. Because there will be people who will be open to cold calls if given the fact that you're doing it the right way. And when I say the right way is that when you're reaching out to them, there's a there's a compelling reason to reach out, and you're talking, and when you're talking to them, it is making sense to them. If you're reaching out to CTO, you should know that what is a day-to-day life of a CTO, their problem, what makes them stay awake till 4 a.m. at night, and you can speak those things. If you can, that person might entertain. The
Makes a lot,
like
makes a
I
lot of sense.
use the word might because sometimes they will not entertain.
There's
Uh,
always a chance. So
yeah,
I remember once when I reached out to somebody cold on LinkedIn. He said, I don't appreciate people reaching out to me cold on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I'm like, it was, I'm like, LinkedIn, everybody does. He was a CTO, right?
exactly.
And couldn't do anything.
And this is not only for CTOs. I don't have anything against CTOs. This is also for sales leaders. When I was doing cold calling in my initial days, I was reaching out to BDR managers who used to train BDRs for cold calling, and
Okay.
I was shut down because I cold called that person. That person bursted on me. That was a BDR leader. So things like this can also happen. So let's out of 100 people, 20 people will say I don't entertain cold calls, but 80 people might hear what you're saying. And let's say from 80, if you book 10 meetings in that day, that's a great thing. I mean, that's an extraordinary thing, by the way.
Got it. And in terms of, okay, I think we've covered quite a bit, right? We've started with what we need to set up all the way until roll calling. So now comes what metrics do you track as a SDR? Let's say let's break it into two. As the you as an SDR yourself, what should you be tracking? And number two, not always do I mean, I understand that revenue might be the end goal, right? But when you have a team, not you might not get replies, you might not like what are the soft metrics that need to also be looked at for your team to motivate them and get them in the right space?
Very good question. Let's say what I track. Personally, what I have in my mind, and this is a goal that I have started uh, chasing every day since I'm at Ryan. I try to book 2 meetings per day, right? Now it won't align with your goals, obviously. So how do you can track your metrics? First, know your numbers. That I have to book, let's say, 15 meetings per month, right? Now, see, to get to 15 meetings, how many emails you have to send, how many new prospect you have to put in your list, how many cold calls you have to do, how many LinkedIn you have to do. It won't come from your first day. It's a lot of experiment. Do that. Once you do that, and let's say you have a little bit of idea about the numbers, then you start your tracking your numbers. Let's say I have a number that I have to reach out to 50 people per day. That means 50 emails per day, 50 calls per day, and let's say 20 LinkedIn connection per day.
What
If
is the industry benchmark?
sorry,
What is the industry benchmark? If how many emails should a person be sending? How many cold calls should a person be doing? Give me an average. Give me a ball. Give me an average. Lower slash higher number.
see, uh, at this point, if you have, let's say, all the infrastructure of cold email set up right, and you are at a scale where you can scale your cold emails, then 200 emails per day can also be done.
See, 200 emails would be automated emails.
Yeah,
Those can't be considered as your outbound. Like once you've set up your sequence, it automatically goes. We're talking about as an SDR, how many emails can I send? So if I'm taking new prospects, I need to start new sequences, right?
you're saying that manual email that I'm writing, right?
Correct. Correct.
Again, at the same time, right now with, let's say, with Chat GPT and all this AI tool, your research time is getting in seconds, right? At this, so earlier when I used to take 1 hour to research 10 companies, and right now I can do 10 companies in 10 minutes. And that is true. That is I'm doing with my ChatGPT Pro version, because there's deep search, and there are so many LLM tools. So what I'm trying to say is you are saving a lot of time in your research, list building, and all those things. So use those, uh, and also ChatGPT can write the first version of your email, and you change on those based on that. 50, 60, at least 100 emails you can write. I would say. This might sound a lot, but why I'm saying this, because looking at the tools that we have in the market right now and the capabilities of these tools, that you can actually use, if let's say I use ChatGPT Pro version, if I have to write 50 emails, I actually have a GPT,
Yeah.
yeah, prompt, where I have given all the prompt about my company, and that ChatGPT has all the data about my company, value prop, my customers, all these things. I just say that this is the company I'm trying to target, like list of companies targeting. f- Research about them, give me points that I can reach, that I can go after them, and write the first initial draft. I have all the emails right now. I now just to edit something and change some bit, which will take me, let's say, for if I'm writing for doing for 100 emails, take for an hour and or hour and so. But now I'm making, like, AI tools are making me more superpowered as an SDR, which I call it an AI powered SDR, right? So I don't know the ballpark, but this is what you can do. Like, if someone is still doing manual research, manual list building, or manual emails, I would say that person is just wasting time, and very soon that person might fall into the trap that you know into a trap that they might lose their job as well, because management knows that these are the things that are in the market, these are the things that people use in the market. Management are happy to give SDRs that leverage, but you as an SDR need to leverage these things as soon as possible.
Deb, with respect to prospecting, I think again touching back to prospecting, I think prospecting is like a very very important thing. And I love prospecting. Like talking about do you think an SDR must do the prospecting, or does it make sense to have a person in house who prospects and gives lists to SDRs?
uh SD, so I didn't actually understand the question, like prospect and give list to the SDR. Can you
No,
just
no. So today I've seen a lot of the times that SDRs spend a lot of time prospecting before they start doing the outreach.
Hmm.
Right? Does it make sense to have an independent function, hire one person to just create lists, to just do the prospecting and share these lists as and when necessary to the SDRs to do their outreach?
I feel tools can make that happen right now.
Ah.
Earlier there used to be a person called market research, whose only job was to do the market research, build a list, research about the companies, and then give the list to the SDRs and do that. I think right now we can uh, remove that person and include tools for that. And
Got it.
I'm sure you have heard about AI agents, like
Yes.
sales. So, like an AI agent which does all these things, like research, market research, building list, and then the SDR job is to put them in a sequence and reach out to them.
Got it. And again, AI, you've spoken about AI a couple of times. Apart from ChatGPT for writing emails, are you using any other AI in your workflow that is giving you a superpower?
I feel too many AI tools complicate things. I try to prefer, I try to keep it simple. ChatGPT for mostly research, writing emails, and all the stuff. Again, there are a lot of LLM tools. Claude is a very good tool for writing specifically. So sometimes I use Claude, but it's a free version. Then there are tools. There are a lot of list building tools actually. Like uh, I've mentioned one in here in this podcast, Keyplay, which is again like you just give a
Which one?
Keyplay, Keyplay.
Keyplate, yeah, Keyplate, yes.
So Keyplay is again, it's a tool that can easily build a list for you. Uh, we all know about Clay. Clay is something that has been buzzing on the internet, and if you can learn Clay, that is really good. Honestly, Clay actually takes most of the work of an SDR, starting from building lists to researching to writing the email, and in fact sequencing them as well.
Doesn't Apollo do that, Deb? Like I've always had this, like I understand, doesn't Apollo do everything that we just mentioned?
Apollo, uh, Apollo has workflows. Apollo has workflows. What do you mean by a workflow? There's a workflow in Apollo which says that any company from your target list has changed jobs. and you want to target them, that
Control
comes.
them on a sequence.
Yes, Apollo has that, but Clay is like a. I mean, it's a. I would say it's Apollo on steroids. I feel because Apollo um, also can right now. Obviously, all the tools are using AI in their functionality. Like, there's very hard to.
At least they're using AI in their marketing. Functionality debatable, but it's in their marketing.
But I feel a lot of these tools do the same things, and it's very difficult to differentiate
Yeah.
as a user. I use Apollo. Apollo can also write emails for me. Apollo can do research for me. But it's just that how good is the tool? I've seen ChatGPT does it better. So I stick to ChatGPT. I just go to Apollo for, let's say, for writing the email or sequencing them, etc. But again, like if you dig down, again, that's why it said that don't go for 10 AI tools and overwhelm yourself. Go for one or two AI tools, master those tools, and then you see that your productivity has gone up. But the main point here is to use these things, like as the world is going towards AI, towards automating stuff. Don't think that, oh, my job is at risk. No, if you're not using it, then your job is at risk, or else you're good to go.
That's a lovely way to put it, Deb. Uh, I enjoyed this conversation. It's a subject very close to my heart. I love doing outbound. Thank you so much for your time and being a part of GTM Talk. It was lovely having you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome to talk about something that I do every day, and I love talking about this, and so good to connect with you and talk to you, and I look forward to more such episodes from you.
Absolutely, Deb.